This guy f***ed somebody over very hard, allegedly.
Before we get into this video, I do want to discuss how difficult this is for me to record. I can sit back all day and talk shit about Funko and the mistakes that they're making and things that I don't like, things that I do like. I don't want to forget about the positivity that we put in most of our videos. We are positive. Don't even act like we're not. But when I saw this initially, I said, no, we're not going to cover it because I just don't feel right adding more fuel to the fire.
Somebody shared this with us days ago, and you and I decided we wouldn't talk about it, and then everybody's now talking about it. So now I feel like we have to talk about it because we talk about all Funko news. And this is a pretty important story, a live and learn story, a tale, if you would. So let me just be upfront about this. I don't know a whole lot, so I'm going to learn through Heather what exactly went down. What I do know, this was very costly, and somebody got scammed, and there's just a ridiculous amount of going on here.
I will be honest, I didn't dig too much into this today.
What are we doing this video for then?
Because I know enough to talk about it. I don't want to use names, but I will say it is very easy to find. But I would like to ask that if you do know the name, please don't leave it in the comments section. I just, you know.
Is there a reason why?
Because
I mean, if this guy screws somebody over so hard, what does it matter if they leave it in the comment section? Leave it in the comment section. Who cares? We're just not going to say it. Okay. Because it's all allegedly, right? This is something that's being shared across the internet.
It's not really alleged.
No?
Because okay. I'll tell you why it's not alleged.
Oh, when you're whipping that phone out, I always know you got a full pack to punch.
I don't really like using PPG for things like this because these pieces are so rare that I don't even feel like PPG is accurate. So I checked eBay listings and there's nothing to be found for Freddy Funko as Iron Man, either variant.
A lot of this stuff is sold behind the scenes.
Yeah, a lot of it is sold collector to collector, people who know people, whatever. This is a bit difficult to gauge value on, but I do have some data from PPG.
Are we going to label this whole thing a scam? Is that what this is?
I would say so. Or fraud.
Fraud. Oh, fraud is a really strong word. I
don't like the word scam because a lot of people misuse it, and I feel like people just use it for anything. Like, people call mystery boxes a scam, but it's not really a scam unless the person creating the mystery boxes doesn't actually put what they say.
Bingo.
In them.
Oh my God.
You know what I mean?
Put that on like some sort of bumper sticker? Because what you just said, like, so many people need to hear that.
Yeah, well, that's for a different day. 2 Freddy Funko as Iron Mans in this scenario. They are both from San Diego Comic-Con 2012. One is a 96-piece Freddy Funko as Iron Man, and one is a 12-piece metallic Freddy Funko as Iron Man.
12.
Yes, 12.
Wow.
The only difference is a different sticker and one's painted metallic and one isn't. They look nearly identical besides the sticker and besides one being metallic. Because of the piece count difference, there is obviously going to be a price difference because lower piece count, higher price.
Equates to a lot more money, yeah. So
I mean, they're both ridiculously priced.
So what are the prices on PPG?
On PPG, the 96-piece regular Freddy Funko as Iron Man goes for $7,000. According to PPG, the 12-piece metallic Freddy Funko as Iron Man goes for $38,000.
You could buy a car with that.
You could.
You could buy 2 cars of that. I mean, very cheap
used.
cars. Yeah. Like a Saturn, a couple Saturns.
So remember that detail. 38K, 7K. In this situation, what happened was the person in question was selling the 12-count metallic Freddy Funko as Iron Man for $60,000, and he found a buyer.
60. Oh my God. So that shows you just how far off PPG really is.
Nearly double what PPG says. But in his possession, he also has a 96-piece Freddy Funko as Iron Man, both of which he's posted on Instagram. So everybody has seen that he has both of them.
We'll get down to the nitty-gritty, Heather. What's the drama here?
The drama here is that photos that he had previously posted of the metallic Iron Man show a really box. Like, there's a bunch of dents, there's like little brown pieces on the box. Like, it is definitely an older pop, so you would expect some sort of like wear and tear, some imperfections.
Yeah, because pop protection wasn't that big back then.
No, it definitely was not. Once people realized these are worth something, then people started to make protectors, protect their pops, make money off protectors, all that jazz, right?
Like $7 a pop. They have their pop shield armors. They're the best way to protect your Funko Pops. They got the magnetic top on them, very thick, very sturdy. You wouldn't have had brown little stains all over your box if you had it in a pop shield armor. I just wanted to get that out of the way.
Take a look here. This is the original metallic box.
Okay.
Somebody has taken the time to circle the imperfections. You can see where everything is at.
Where all the dirt brown stuff is. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Back here, there's a dent, another dent, a pretty big dent. Now, recently, when he's decided to part ways, you'll notice that the metallic one does not have those imperfections, but the 96 count does have the same imperfections.
Oh, so we swapped the box. Mm-hmm. That's ballsy.
These pops have identical boxes aside from the sticker.
Wow, so that's an easy box swap. You can just f somebody over, kind of like what this guy did.
And a lot of people will argue it's just a box. But when you're spending $60,000 on an item, it's not just a box. If we're going off of PPG, if this dude spent $7,000 on the 96-piece Iron Man with a good box, did a box swap, and then made $60,000 for a good box.
Well, I mean, it's the same exact box, right? Are there any other markings or anything on it? Any number markings, anything that separates it from the other one? Do we know that? We probably don't know that,
I do
right?
not know that.
We don't know that. So
No.
The only thing that separates them is the little sticker. And somebody could easily swap the stickers.
Yes.
Can I be devil's advocate?
Yes.
Do you really think it matters that much? I mean, you're talking about the same exact box. You couldn't improve if it's the incorrect box or not. So is this really that big of an issue? He had the box in a better condition, so he swapped them so he could make extra Buckaroo Banzais.
With a transaction this large, it is not appropriate.
Because it should be the original, like it should be completely original. I don't know how I feel about this. If I looked at both of these pops and I knew that they were easily swappable as a collector, as a personal collector, and I owned both of them, I most likely would swap the box only because it's going to make my Grail look grailier. But that's without selling it.
Exactly.
I understand the selling part because it is a lot of money.
So, here's where the issue comes in. The seller claimed, this is alleged because I have not seen the paperwork, I have not seen any back and forth between the buyer and the seller.
You're swinging that big A around. I like that.
I have to. Apparently, the seller said that there had been no box swap. If I have a pop and it's a bit dinged up and I'm like, you know what? I really love this pop for my future in case I want to get it autographed or whatever you want. See, I'm different from a box collector, so this is really hard for me to like think about, you know, like sympathize with so much just because a lot of my stuff is out of box. But
you don't mind a beat up box. I like a very nice box. I like a nice box. I don't want a beat up box. I don't need one that looks like it's been run hard and hung up wet. You know what I mean? I need something that's looking nice. And I'm talking about the Funko Pop box. I'm not talking about anything dirty. Okay. You're making it sound dirty. But I just don't want a beat up box. I like a pristine box.
This would look better, and I don't know if this is right or wrong, but if the dude like was at San Diego Comic-Con and got the 12-piece over the years, it got damaged, whatever, maybe he seeks out for himself the 96-piece so he can do a swap for himself. But for him to seek out a 96-piece specifically to swap boxes just so he can gain profit is really scummy. And to not disclose it to the buyer. I mean, had he disclosed that it was a box swap to the buyer or kept it in the original dinged up box? Let's think about the scenarios. Box swap, how much money do you think that would take off from a $60,000 pop?
If it's the same exact box and there are no markings to tell you otherwise, then I have no problem with it.
As long as it's disclosed to you?
As long as it's disclosed. So I think that's the real issue.
That is the real issue.
Is that it was never mentioned.
It's like the number one issue.
What if this person didn't buy them at San Diego Comic-Con back in 2012, and he bought them over the last couple of years? Who's to say that the boxes were original to begin with?
That's a very good point.
See what I'm saying? You know what's really ballsy, though? Removing those stickers. That's ballsy, because you could rip it. You could do all sorts of stuff with that. And then if you take a hairdryer to pull it off the front window, you can melt the front window. There are so many scenarios where this could have gone super south. Have people looked at the stickers yet to see if they're real?
I think that they are.
Okay, so
because
those are legit.
I feel like Funko collectors take notice and stuff like this, so I feel like somebody would have said, oh, well, those stickers aren't even real.
And by the way, I just want to cut this off at the pass. I'm not saying what the guy did was right. I'm just saying I'm trying to look at it from multiple perspectives here.
Yeah, I think that this is a discussion, and everybody's going to have different opinions on it.
But I think this guy definitely should have disclosed it. You can't sell it without disclosing that information.
Absolutely. I did a window swap on a pop years and years ago because the window was damaged. I made it very clear when I sold that item, I took photos of the inside of the box to show, like, this isn't perfect. I had to do a window swap because I think it had like a hole in it. I was like forced to do a window swap.
And it was like a $60 Funko Pop.
Yeah, it wasn't that big of a deal. But the buyer was fine with it.
This one's $60,000.
I know, and it wasn't disclosed. But let's get back to my question. How much do you think a box swap, it is a real box, by the way. It's just not for the correct pop, but does it matter because the boxes are the same?
You know what? I gotta be honest with you. Me personally, I feel like it should be the same price. Because the boxes are exactly the same.
But we have to keep in mind, we aren't Grail collectors to this extent.
True. Because, again, you want it to come in the original packaging. I understand that aspect of it. So maybe it does lose value then. Right? To your point.
I think it does.
It loses value because it's not in the original packaging. But if he had never posted any photos, by posting all these photos, people were able to collect all those photos and prove that he did, in fact, do this box swap, we wouldn't even be talking about this had he not done something stupid. We wouldn't have known otherwise because the boxes are exactly the same. He probably swapped the stickers in or some sort of magic way. He got it done, got the job done.
You do have
But all the information came out later on. And it just sunk his battleship because it sold, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, it sold. So somebody purchased it and then found out that it was a big problem.
I asked questions a long time ago and you keep going on rants. Can we get back to my questions, please?
Okay, let me sit up for this.
How much money do you think a box swap would take off of a $60,000 pop?
They always say that the boxes are like half of the price of the Funko Pop.
But it has a box. It's just not the original box for that pop.
Because we know it now, I'm still at zero. I feel like you shouldn't take any money off. That's just how I feel.
Okay, so
I can't help it.
For a Grail collector, I would imagine like $5,000. And I could be way off. I don't know.
$5,000 off.
Yes, $5,000. So $55,000 instead of $60,000.
That just seems too low when you say it now. Maybe it should be like $25,000. I don't know.
But it still has a box, and the box is better than the one that it came in. So then here's another question. How much would having it in that box take away from the value? I would say he could probably get like $40K for it, $30 to $40K.
So what your point is the fact that he swapped the box, he should still make more money than in that dinged up box that looks like it's been shoved down a toilet.
That's not my point. I'm getting to my point. That's
no,
why
it sounds like you're saying it's more valuable, right? Because you said $5,000 off.
I do feel that it would be more valuable to get a pop of this nature in a box swap than to get a box. And that's exactly why he did it. He did it for a scummy, selfish reason. But had he just simply disclosed that he did a box swap, then he probably still could have made more money had he not done all of this, because what did he do by making this mistake?
He's ruined his name.
Yeah,
now
that's the number one thing.
He's like the big fraud in the community, right?
Yep.
He's done really shitty things. Now he's being talked about across the community.
Yeah, he owns all of these super grails. He's now being shunned from the entire community. He was known as someone who would do legit checks for people.
Wow.
How can a guy who's swapping boxes legit check?
I read somebody's comment today where they said that possibly took a Thing Funko Pop and painted the eyes.
So apparently he has a Thing army and something with the blue eyes and the black eyes.
Yeah, it has the different eyes, yeah.
Yeah, so people are saying maybe he painted those. I don't know. That
Dude,
is
you
a legend.
totally ruined everything.
That
What were
is
you
a
doing?
legend. He could have made, let's say, 30,000 with the box, 50 to 55,000 with the box swap. He made 60,000 off of this sale, but guess what? He's refunding the buyer, so now he's out 60,000.
Really, he's refunding. Let's
So
hold on.
he
Let's
says.
push the pause button for a second. If he does go through with that, I feel like that redeems him a little bit.
Can he still be trusted?
I don't necessarily think he can be
It
trusted
doesn't
right
redeem
away.
him. Do you want to know why?
Maybe over time he could be trusted
Do
again.
you want to know why it doesn't redeem him? Because he built this trust throughout the years, and guess what he did?
Knocked it all over in one fell swoop.
He did. He specifically went out of his way to seek out a less expensive pop with an identical box so that he could make more money on a sale and not disclose it to a buyer. He owns all of these high-end grails. If he's being shunned from the community and everybody knows what he owns, how many people do you think he's going to be able to sell those grails to?
Unless he changes his name and he's somebody else now and he's
But
doing
people
business
know
with
what
somebody
he
else.
has.
I don't see this as horrible, but he should have said something.
There is nothing wrong with a box swap in my eyes. I do feel like for older collectibles, yes, it probably does take value off of the items. You can't lie.
No.
He intentionally misled somebody. Not just misled, he lied. He was allegedly specifically asked, has the box been swapped? And he said no. He did something wrong.
Yeah.
He got caught, and now he's paying for it with this reputation he's built up for
His
how
whole
many
business
years.
and everything.
Yeah.
A wise man once said, liar, liar, pants on fire.
Yeah, he really f***ed up. Really bad. So that's not the end of the story. I have a lot more data about this story.
You don't just have a lot more data, you have a bombshell.
I have a lot.
And we have a part 2 tomorrow, so come back and hear some more talking. No, but really, we have some really important information we have to discuss. We got to get to the bottom of this.
Yeah.
And maybe eventually this person will reach out to us and we could talk a little bit deeper about this situation. Because I want to hear more. I feel like he's being overly attacked right now. And maybe he should tell
Listen.
his side of things maybe a little bit. I don't know.
Well, he did.
Oh, he did? Did it not go over well? That's in part 2! In every video, we like to shout out to some of our patrons on Patreon. In this video, we'd like to shout out to Tiffany Anderson, Kelly Spears, James Dieter, Brian Ordell Jr., Ashley Shelley-Ann Nelson, George Gifford, Laura Ampuala, Sergio Lopez, Sephiroth81, and David Brewer. Thank you guys so much. We appreciate all the support. It means the world to us. And thank you for staying until the very end of the video. Your viewership keeps this channel alive. And make sure to hit that like button, that subscribe button, and also that little bell. That way you'll know anytime we go live or post brand new content. We post content every single day, and we go live every Sunday between 8 and 9 p.m. Don't miss out. We have a lot of fun on our lives. If you want to support this channel a little bit more, check out our Patreon at patreon.com/Gastlecast. Thanks for tuning in.